hopefully. All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Racers News Network Live. We are getting the scoop on the all new and improved 2025 Mid Atlantic Super Series. And we're going to have our guest tonight. Of course, I'll start out. I want to introduce Dana first because everybody knows Dana. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
How are you?
Very good. Happy to be
Good,
here.
good, good. And then, of course, we have what people often refer to as the hardest working man in all of Dot 90 racing, and now top dragster and stock and super stock, Mr. Keister.
Good evening, everybody.
What is going on, my people?
Just add into the circus, as I like to say.
I was gonna
You
say
know,
you forgot a few classes.
Yes.
you're only missing two other classes, and you could have, you know what I'm gonna say. We talked about it every time since DJ brought it up.
But
Every
DJ
time.
sold his funny car, so DJ can no longer have a talk in
Okay.
having Top Alcohol Funny Car come to my series because DJ sold his funny car. So DJ no longer has
A vested interest.
when it comes to adding anything like that. So
So I'm the one that pushed Rob to add all these classes. Every time he brought it up, I'm like, let's do it, right? But then he mentioned, top and Todd, top alcohol, whatever. And I was all for it until I found out how much the ambulance costs.
Right. Right. So hiding in Never Neverland of the internet is of course our host for the evening,
the little elf.
Pete Sanka.
I don't understand how I'm hiding in the internet, but anyways, I'm right here. Hey,
Uh, Well, yeah, I can only see two people at a time because I changed my settings.
oh, I got you. I got you. I'm here.
So to me, you were hiding.
I'm
But
still.
how's it going, my friend?
It's good. It's the crazy time of year for me, but it's good. I got no complaints.
Nice. And you're heading to warm weather soon.
A week from right about now, I should be in the air. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Nice. Yeah, and it's actually warming up down there, so compared to what
It
it
is.
has been.
So I got to tell you, I sent my wife a text the other day how disappointed I am. Sick week was 2 weeks ago. The pros are having their warm up race this weekend. And the weekend that I'll be there next weekend, nothing.
Nothing.
No. And spring training for baseball, which they have a facility about 15 minutes from my house, starts the week after I leave. So it's like I'm
Of course,
going
of course.
right in the middle of missing everything, but what are you gonna do? It's still gonna be Florida in the winter, so I can't complain.
But you
Well,
have
so that means you can at least take one day and take a ride over to Palm Beach and take some pictures of the racetrack to show everybody.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a video that hey, Rob
There you
Keister
go.
sent me here to check the place out because he wants to buy it.
He wants to invest. Him and Dana are going to invest in it.
That's right.
Go in with Raul,
We're all
and
gonna pull up our $150 and we're gonna see if we can make it happen.
we need 20 million people at $50 a pop.
That's it. That's it.
I will say that at PRI, I got to experience Raul, and he's a very cool guy.
And we had him on a couple months ago, and he is a cool dude, no
Hmm.
doubt.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching him. He was on a panel and, he was talking, about, owning a track and things like that. And it was his view of it as pretty much just a businessman and a family man was amazing. I loved it.
It kind of reminds me, I was really, really young when he took the track over, about when Vincent Barletta took over Lebanon Valley. Uh, very much a businessman that is a huge fan of the sport, wasn't afraid to invest, but still had to make money doing it.
Mhm.
He wasn't such a fan that he had millions of dollars to blow and didn't care. He still ran it like a business. And when we had Raul on the show, it reminded me a lot of him. Um, it's nice to see people with financial backing that have a passion for our sport, right? I mean, how often do we say, "Oh my God, if I hit Mega Millions, I would do this and do that"? Well, that's what these guys are doing with
Mhm.
their Mega Millions. But they're not throwing it away. They want to make sure whatever they invest, it's going to be a profitable business. Um, it's like, thank God that there's still people out there that do that, because we need it.
Yeah, he was really interesting and very nice, and I was very impressed by him.
Yeah, we were impressed with him when we had him on the show.
Mhm.
Chris had reached out to him a couple of times to set up the interview. I never talked to him until we were in this format right here. And yeah, very impressive. Cool dude. And just the fact that he's showing interest and he's trying to get the ball rolling for down there. Again, it just speaks to his passion for the sport. So very cool. Hopefully it
Like
works.
you said in the video though, there's a lot of people that are interested in the property,
Mhm.
but hopefully he's the one that comes out on top.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's been for sale for a very long time, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So I mean,
at least a few years, five, six
yeah.
years maybe.
So I mean, to say that people are interested in the property, I'm sure there are, but listen, technically you could say us four are interested in the property, but
Right.
are they interested in it for the price that they're asking, or are they, is Raul saying, for what I'm willing to pay for the property, there would be a lot of people interested in the property? You don't know. Uh,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it's a glimmer of hope, and you just, hope that goes in the favorable direction for the sport.
Right. Because I mean, it started out at some astronomical price. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was,
Right.
you know, out of reach of normal human beings.
Yeah.
And now it's down to essentially what do you got for me?
Someone had made the comment I saw on Facebook, and I don't know how accurate the comment is or whatever, but someone had said that if they're going to buy that facility, do all the updates to it, and make it profitable, they really couldn't afford to spend any more than 5 million on it, because anything over that would make it so that you'd have to do some craziness to make a profit, and it just, the money wasn't there. Now I have no idea. I don't know the first thing about running a drag strip, so I don't know if it's 5 million or 50 million could still make it profitable. I have no clue, but it's interesting. I know that when Echo was going through its thing, I want to say it went for, Robin, you would know this better than me. Did it go for like 12 million?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And people had said that if someone bought it that was interested in keeping it a drag strip, that same $5 million number came out, 5 to 7 million. That anything over that, it just, you couldn't bring in enough to offset, what you're paying for it. As far as I'm assuming they're talking about, taking a loan out for it and bringing in enough to pay the note and employees and blah blah blah.
And that's
Um,
probably why the offers they got were 5 and 6,
right.
right? Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, when someone's ready to spend that kind of money on an investment for property, I'm sure they have people that are way smarter than all of us put together, uh, you know, punching the numbers on the calculator and figuring out, okay, this is what they bring in on an average weekend. This is what it's going to cost you. It's probably pretty damn cut and dry, if I had to guess,
Mhm.
that you can't afford to pay something for 10 million that you should only be paying 5 for. Um, but like I said, I know that Palm Beach had an offer for big money for something that got shot down. Now, I don't know if that means that there's other things that could be built on that property, or if they're gonna just shoot down everything that's not a racetrack. I have no idea. But with, you know, a Amazon warehouse or whatever, if they're not gonna let that fly, you know, will they let condos fly? Will they let a shopping mall fly? You don't know. You know, we would like to think that hopefully they'll only allow it to be a racetrack and that's that, but in reality, that's probably not the case. So
Mhm.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Someone's trying. That's all we could ask for, right?
absolutely.
Good
All
stuff.
right. So, with that note, we're moving on to the 2025 season. And like I said, the Mid Atlantic Super Series has a lot of changes going into this year. And Pete, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, so we're talking about tracks that we're hoping is going to open. Let's talk about what's going to be going on at the tracks that are open with awesome owners and awesome promoters like the two guests that we have here tonight. So I don't know which one of you two wants to talk first, but whoever does, give us a snapshot of what 2025 is going to look like for you guys.
I'm willing
So
to bet they're going to be throwing things at each other to talk first or talk the
So,
most.
yeah, I'll just start off with Rob and I put a lot of effort, and mostly Rob because I've been MIA, through the winter pretty much, but we made that trip to PRI. We got a lot of stuff done, and Rob is really, really making it all come true. And he's done a lot of hard work on the website with Amanda. She's phenomenal, and I mean, they've been doing that all by themselves. Um, and there we really tried to focus on getting sponsors, and Rob had split the top dragster, top sportsman, and getting sponsors for that, and then my baby, which was and making the junior portion of the series just a little bit better. I feel investing in the little ones is our best idea, because they're the future of the .90 racing, and without them all those other classes are going to die out. So have them fall in love with it now. Have them fall in love with the series now. So, and it gives them something to do between divisionals, which is wonderful. But Rob can give you all the details, but he did all the work, and I want everyone to know.
If I could just piggyback off of that, we've had countless conversations on this show about what junior dragsters have done for the sport.
Hmm.
And just the fact that they're expanding past weekly bracket racers. And let's face it, they've done it for a while, but when series like you guys are taking them on, and the divisionals are starting to take them on, and the programs are growing bigger and bigger at your weekly bracket races and stuff, there is no question of what they do for the sport and to keep it progressing. And now we're at the point, because some of us, not you two, but Chris and I, are old enough where we really see, like, the Erica Enders and the Sean Langdons, and all these people now are seasoned veterans, and now we could see where they came from and how beneficial it is. We always knew it would be beneficial, but now we're really starting to see the results of that. And like I said, the more that you guys as promoters take this on, I think it's the only way we could help the sport grow. So it's awesome that you guys are doing it.
Thank you.
So Rob, you're up, buddy.
Yeah. So,
Talk to us.
I mean, what we normally do at the end of every season, we sit down as a team, and Dana, myself, Dave, Ashley, all kind of sit down together, and we all kind of not game plan, but we all throw darts at the board, and see what worked and what didn't work for the past season. What tracks were good to us, what tracks weren't good to us. Where do we see good car counts at, and stuff, and we kind of looked at the 2024 season, and unfortunately Mother Nature was a real bitch to us. I mean, the races that we did get in, we were literally taking winter circle photos while lightning was flashing in the background.
Wow.
We were trying to do like the pig roast. The pig roast was having to get rained out. I think we lost 3 races due to rain. And then we end up, I think, having our Maple Grove race end up having to get finished at another event, and then that event also was getting finished like literally as the rain clouds were coming in, and so it was a battle, I guess you would say, with trying to even just get the season completed. But we sat down at the end of the year and we kind of sat, looked at each other and we said, what would work, what wouldn't work. So we put a survey out to all the racers. To us, the racers are number one, and we don't put association at the end of our series for a reason. And we put it there because it's an association. It's an association of racers put together that give us feedback. All we're just the people that are put in charge of running the series and helping get sponsors, helping get racers on board. But without the racers themselves, we don't, the series basically falls and goes away. And the unfortunate part is when ACO did close, that fear, struck us all that, this series could possibly go away, because the fact is that, ACO was our main source of a racing, venue. And without having ACO there, it was like, where do we go now? What's our next, next step? Luckily enough, at the time, Jimmy and Chad at Cecil County jumped on board to host us for a couple weekends. Kyle and Shane did at Maple Grove for a weekend. And then we, ventured out to Mason-Dixon out in Hagerstown, and Elmer and Jake and their crew out there. And, Mason-Dixon was a wild card. We didn't know what was gonna happen out there. We just, had never been out there. A lot of, Pete and stuff, is if there's not a division race there, if there's not a national open there, it kind of shies people away from going to a track that they haven't been to either in many, many years or at all. And some people just don't want to venture out to that new track because it's not, there hasn't been an NHRA national open there, or there hasn't been a division race there or a national event there. So they kind of shy away from that. And unfortunately, the car counts did show a little bit with that. But like the people who came up to me and told me how much of a great time they had at Mason-Dixon, I basically told them, I said, the thing is, I can beat the drum until I'm red in the face. I said, but it's you guys getting on Facebook, you guys talking about how great of a time you guys had at Mason-Dixon.
Yep.
That's going to draw more cars to come the following year. And hopefully that helps. And, but one of the big things that we really wanted to do, and we pitched, like I said, we put a survey monkey out to all our racers at the end of the year, and we asked them, what is one thing that you could do to improve, your experience at our races? And, so you look at the junior thing, and the first thing that people came to us was like, we would like you to form a team to go to Bristol. So me and Dana started looking, we did our due diligence, looking into it. We called Bristol. We talked to the heads of Bristol to see what we could do, like, because they've never had experience like this before, where they have a series come, to Bristol and be, host. It's always a track. You're always either Team Cecil County or Team Maple Grove or Team Lebanon Valley who goes there and stuff. So they basically flat out told us, as much as we would love to host you and have you there, we can't have you because you're not affiliated with the track. So we said, no problem. We kind of put it on the back burner a little bit, let it rest a little bit. And then, we started thinking about, different ideas. And I thought about it. So, you know what, maybe one of the 2 tracks that we go to, once I got my schedule done, maybe one of those 2 will allow us to form a team and go to, Bristol.
Yep.
We, Mason-Dixon was going to form a team themselves, and Elmer really loves his junior kids. He is 100% behind the junior program and stuff. And so I didn't really ask too much him, but I put the, I put the notion in Chad and Jimmy's ear at Cecil County that, hey, what's your thoughts on letting us, run as Team Cecil County at Bristol? So they thought about it some, and Chad was in the process of writing his schedule, and he came back to me and says, "Listen, Rob," he says, "I'm looking at my schedule. The only weekends I have are your 2 weekends that are, my that are your weekends, at the track that I'm going to be able to have juniors." He says, I got grudge events, I got, streetcar shootout races, I got Lucas Oil races." He says,
Yellow bullet and all that stuff. Yeah.
I have no other weekends there that I can put junior dragsters at, and stuff. So he says, "You know what? As long as we get the okay, you know what? We have no problem of you being Team Cecil County, and counting the points." So, we went ahead with that. So now we're going to form a team and go as Team Cecil County as for the, for the Bristol event and for Maple Grove
Awesome.
junior dragster finals. So, we're hoping that's going to be a good turnout with our junior program. We've had lots of sponsors come on for our junior program this year. I mean, at 32 cars, we're going to guarantee $1,000 to win.
Wow.
So,
Mhm.
it's definitely it's been a the people that come on board. I'm just trying to think inside, and the crazy part about it is people that were on board for 2024. I haven't even a chance to even get to them yet because I just had people contact me left and right. I mean, Joe Torchia and his company, Aaron Gas Company, have come on board. We had a unnamed racer who did not want to be named at all, who was a big proponent of juniors. He jumped on board and says, "I don't want to be named, but here's the money for it." Where it was, don't name me, but I want to see it, where you get to $1,000.
Yep.
We have the Opie family, who always, seems to support it.
Dave Knapp.
What was it?
Dave Knapp.
Yep, Dave Knapp also, and
That's awesome.
Mhm.
That is very cool.
Philadelphia Race Engines, the Schoenbergers. So we had tons of guys jump on board to bump this up, and our the registrations that have been coming in for juniors so far have been craziness. I mean, I even told Dana, I said, just buckle your shoes for the first race. I said, because it's going to be we're going to have a lot of juniors at probably our first race.
Getting
Because
32 cars is not going to be a problem. And when we get more cars, that pot goes up because every dollar that comes in goes out. We
Nice.
leave, and I like to make sure everyone knows and understands that we leave with an empty register. There is no money that comes home with us. So we get more than 32 cars, you're looking at bigger payouts for those kids. And that's
That's
amazing. Yeah.
And then, we went to the top sports and top dragster guys. We said, what's your biggest complaint with the top 32? And, a lot of their complaints were, they didn't like, as much as the King of the Hill thing looked cool on paper. A lot of the door cars didn't like it because you get a 370 second dragster, and you're a 490, door car. It's tough, especially in the 8th mile. So I told him, I said, you know what? We'll split it for you guys this year. So we expanded it out to 32 cars. Top Sportsman has their own series. Top Dragster has their own series. Still 8th mile. Because I know people want to see us all go quarter mile and stuff like that, but 8th mile just seems to be the thing that's taking over the world. As much as I'm not an 8th mile racer myself, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you have to look at it and say, hey, what's going to bring cars in?
Right.
Quarter
Right.
mile have those diehard, 10 to 15 racers who want to run quarter mile, but then you might have 40 racers who say, you know what, if it ain't 8th mile, I'm not coming.
Right.
Do I take the 45 cars are going to show up, or do I sit there and with the 15, and then when you win a race and I can only pay you out $500?
Right. Then they're going to be mad about that.
Yeah.
So
So-
it's, and you know what, that also speaks volumes for you and how you promote your deal, because you're a quarter mile guy, but you're smart enough as a promoter to give the majority of the racers what they want. And even though you're not an advocate for 8th mile, If that's what they want, that's what you give them. I mean, I raced 8th Mile a couple of times in the past 2 years, and I got to be completely honest with you. I love it. I absolutely love it. And if whatever track I go to says, hey, we're racing 8th Mile from now on, I'd be on board. I wouldn't stop going if it was quarter mile. In other words, quarter mile doesn't piss me off. I'm fine with it. But I just like the quickness of it. I guess maybe as I'm getting older, my attention span is smaller, so I like the 8th Mile more. But I mean, it's just it's easier on parts, it's easier on brakes, it's easier on all the mechanicals. I mean, fuel, tires. I mean, you just go on and on. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan, but like I know that there have been some track owners that have said 8th Mile over my dead body will always be going a quarter mile. And that's fine too. I mean, I'm just happy sitting in a race car, but the fact that you're willing to adjust with the times to keep the majority of the people happy, that's huge for your series.
And I mean, that does turn into a little, sometimes it can turn into a little bit of an issue because you get a lot of these racetracks now are 8th Mile type events.
Right.
And this 8th Mile on, the rubber really isn't built up as like it used to be built up with a quarter mile track, because
Sure.
fluing all the way down from 8th Mile down to the finish line. You're not having cars go down there. They're off the fuel. Where so, sometimes when we do go to a track that's an 8th Mile only track, or
Right.
kind of it's only 8th Mile on track, it can be a little hairy, up top, because you're building. You got to build the rubber up going down the track and stuff. So,
Well, I would imagine what would make it even scarier is the actual shutdown.
Yeah.
Just because if they're prepping 8th, they'll probably go out to 1,000 feet to help everyone slow down. And then when you start racing quarter mile, you might drag it out another 100 feet or so. But when it comes time to the shutdown that literally has nothing on it and is cold, yeah, that could be a little on the scary side, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, the good part is, the tracks that we do go to, there's really never any issue. I mean, Jimmy and Chad and his crew at Sea Sorter was, I mean, they, you know, people, I mean, the track is always prepped, 100%. I
Yeah,
mean,
Cecil's always a sticky track.
that's a place where, if you leave with the shoes still, attached to the bottom of your feet, then, you stepped in the right places, because usually it's
Right.
very be there, and such. Mason Dixon, was very prepped very, very well, when we were there also. So, I mean, our season this year, we also cut back a weekend. We know the expenses of diesel fuel and just the expenses just to go racing anymore is just
Expenses of life. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, and then with NHRA, expanding, they're having 8, Division One's having 8 races this year. I mean, even though it's 2 doubles, you're double at New, double at Virginia, between Cecil, Maple, Lebanon, and Epping, you're still got 8 races total. So it's still, 8 races on the good old, wallet. So we kind of the cut back one weekend off of our schedule. Instead of having 10 races, we have 8 races, and the philosophy of less is more, hopefully is going to work out a little better for us, that, less will hopefully draw in more cars, because now it's not that you twist somebody's arm to go, but
Right.
it's of like, hey, if I miss a weekend, I don't have a weekend to make up,
Right.
So, the .90 guys are the same old, the same old stuff. I mean, that's nothing's really has changed when that comes along. But, adding the juniors definitely helped, because I think it opens up the area for, I had dinner with a junior dad probably about 3 weeks ago. He lives probably 15 minutes down the street from me.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there talking, and he wanted to pick up one of the calendars that he had ordered, and he wanted to pay his membership for his kid. And we got talking, and he says, before your series came around, he says, my kid was hell bent on running some kind of a dragster because he wants to come out of a junior, he wants to go into a dragster and such roles. And he says ever since like your series came around, he says he's not a big fan of the throttle stop stuff. He says, but he sees the door cars and now he wants a door car. So he says your series has kind of drawn him to possibly go and maybe investing in getting a super street car without a throttle stop or top sportsman car or something. He says that's kind of what we want to do. We want to open up that area for them to possibly go into a Lucas Oil race type category or come and run one of my races. But the Dot 90 guys still the same, and we, Fuel Factory is back on board for their third, year as our presenting sponsor. Mark and his team, great sponsors. I know there's a lot of diehard VP guys out there and the diehard Sunoco guys out there, but if you're looking for something different, Fuel Factory and Roadrunner Race Fuels are definitely the give them a look. And take a look. Their fuel's a little bit on the cheaper side, compared to VP, and such. So, but they're a great sponsor of ours. Been a title sponsor for the past 3 years or so. Pour 15, Jason and his team, also great sponsors, coming on board, and they allow us to do some special programs. Like this year, we're doing a $50 number one qualifier for all the Dot 90 classes. So if you qualify number one, after qualifying's all done and over with, you get $50 back in your pocket.
Nice.
A couple of other programs like Kathy Kondratic and Powder Coat Finishes. She sponsored the Bounty Award, where $30 you get if you take out the previous event winner. So a little bit of like the Bounty Hunter Award that we have in Division 1. And then we added this year, because I'm not crazy enough, is to when Dave Lay decided to hang up his reins as the East Coast Stock Super Stock president and headmaster, after ACO kind of closed up. Dave's been doing a lot of stuff down in Division 2 and kind of as their head tech guy down there. And it just was kind of, he was jumping back and forth and stuff, and he decided to retire from the series. And Jeff Eastburn from Hoops Fire came to me at the end of the beginning of 2024.
Yeah.
Says, hey, what's your thoughts on doing a stock super stock series to add on to your thing? And I said, Jeff, I said, too much. I said, it's just too much for me to do. So he approached
saying, cut it out, will you please?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So he approached Chad at Cecil, and Chad says, I'm on board if whatever. So we worked on there. We had great sponsors come on board for that, and then we decided in 2025 to add it to our add it onto our series, and now that's part of our deal. And so far we have Pour 15, Oaks Landscaping, and we just added Pizza Cycle Company to the sponsor list as of last Friday, which at 32 cars for that will pay out $22.50. So, and we're working on some other ideas, some other things right now. We're a big shout out to Brad Coriel, Brian Gaunt, and who's working on some custom trophies for me for this year. We're redesigning all our trophies for the 2025 season. So Brian's been, working hard on that, and Brad's been helping me try to get stuff moved over to a vector file and stuff. And then trying to think what else we got going on. We just rolled out a brand new website. So what's great with the website is it's through My Race Pass. And Amanda Wessler, who is Mark Wessler from Fuel Factory's wife, she's the head honcho of My Race Pass. And the good thing about My Race Pass is that you can actually go onto our website. There's a little button up top there. It says Racers Registration. And if you want to pre-enter for one of our events, you can, because that was one of the other complaints that I heard from a lot of racers, is that, Pete, Chris, 20 years ago, cash was king.
Yeah, right.
Now everybody likes to use a credit card.
Yep.
You know, credit card for expense.
Cash, what's that? I'm married. I don't have cash.
But everybody likes to use a credit card. So, you know, a lot of people, they have separate credit cards just for their racing expenses. You know, they sit down at the beginning of the year, say, okay, you know, we're going to go to 15 races. It's going to cost us, you know, $30, you know, or $300 where it was per race. And
Right.
that, you know, that's going to be um, our racing expense. So we're going to put it, you know, we're going to put it on a credit card.
And
And
they're also getting airline miles or fuel miles or whatever for the stuff they're putting on the credit card. So yeah, it's a win-win for them.
yeah,
And a lot of the junior parents are so used to using a credit card at the gate that they would come up to the trailer and hand me a credit card and I'd be like, yeah, I have nothing to run this through.
Yeah, right.
And then they're like, I don't carry cash because, you know, I'm a parent of a child that could be running a junior. I have $1 in my wallet right now. Like,
Sure.
I don't carry cash. So that was a huge thing for the junior parents. So the ability to be able to use your credit card, debit card, whatever you want to do, the week before, there is a cutoff before the race because we have to get that and turn it into cash before the race so we could give it out.
Sure.
That was always the reason why we couldn't take credit cards there, was because if we're going to take credit cards from everybody, that's fine and dandy, but then you're not getting money at the end of the day because we don't have it unless you give it to us, pretty much.
Yeah, right. And
So
and
that's
the fact that, like you said, you go home with an empty cash register just
Mhm.
goes to show that whatever's coming in has to go out.
Yep.
And you know, the winners don't want a plastic piece of paper, they want the cash. So
No. And I just want to say a funny story about the trophies. So Rob totally loved our trophies. I know that our racers love the trophies. And last year at Mason-Dixon, which by the way, had a blast at that track, it brought me back to like the old days at Raceway Park. And I went to pick up the trophy and it sliced my finger open.
oh
That was
boy.
it. I was done. I was like, Rob, we're done with these trophies. No more. I'm done. And then he's like, what do you mean? I love the trophies. I was like, I can't do this. I can't get, you know, be bleeding everywhere because of a trophy. Like,
Right.
so of course I put this on him of changing the trophies and he has gracefully made it happen for me.
Nice.
Yes. hmm
Again, Rob, you're open to change. It just speaks volumes about who you are.
Yes.
that's we want to, you know, we want the racers experience, you know, at a racetrack to be one that, you know, when they leave on a Saturday night or they leave on a Sunday night, that they, you know, really say, you know what, I had a great time. I want to come back to one of these races. Even, you know, listen, we completely understand that NHRA is the king. We know it. We're not trying to bump NHRA off of the pedestal. We know that NHRA is the king of the king. I mean, and stuff. We're giving them another option to rate because we, you know, it's one of those things that we all know practice makes perfect. And you know what? An additional 8 races where you can go and hit the tree an additional 8 times or was to practice on a pro tree.
Right.
You know, your car dialed in could make you a division champion, and it proves, you know, off of, you know, like just the guys who race with us. Like you look at like a Keith Mayers. I mean, Keith Mayers had a hell of a season between winning my series, his 8th championship with our series, going out winning the Division 1 championship, and basically tying for the world championship in Super Gas in a car that he just built 3 years ago. You know, shows that, you know, putting those runs on the car, putting the miles on the car helps, you know, helps you dial it in so that, you know, when you know, you go to a racetrack or you get one of these things where, like, you know, weather's coming in and you know, they announce on Saturday morning of a division race, hey, you know what, we have a threat of rain on Sunday and we're going straight into round number 1. You know, we know you had time shots yesterday, but today, you know, we can't give you that one time shot on Saturday. We're going, you guys go right in the first round. You know, we go back into your data logger and be like, hey, you know what? We did race here in this type of conditions at Rob's race in August, you know, and such. And I think that helps a bunch with, you know, with everything. And I mean, you know, I really hope that we open up the eyes to a lot of people that have some new racers come and play with us in 2025. And, even if they just want to come and test, we're not the type of people to say, hey, you have to be a member. You have to sign up for points to be or to race with us. Just come and race one day with us,
Sure.
and hang out. And we're doing some, we have our banquet coming up in like 40 days or so. So we're nose to the grindstone, getting videos done and PowerPoints and all that stuff done for that. But I mean, we're adding a practice tree race after the banquet's all done.
Yeah.
Thank you to Allison at Portatree for giving me a great deal on that tree and the box.
Nice.
Yep.
Mhm.
Up with everything. We talked to Allie at PRI, and she said give us a call, and we got hooked up. So now we have our own mini tree, or the mini tree as they call it, and we're going to be using that to do a practice tree race at the banquet. And then we're actually going to add a practice tree race to every Saturday night of our events after the barbecues are over with.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Once you're all done racing and you come over and grab something to eat, and then we're going to add a practice tree race at the end of every Saturday night in our races, just to add a little more excitement to it for everybody. And if we can play our cards right, we have another surprise at the banquet for everything. With just me and Dana just have to figure out how to make it work. So we're working on that one. So, but something cool.
We're just trying to do anything we can to make the racers experience from, top sportsmen down to juniors as best as it can be, so that when they go to another race, they tell their friends about how much fun they had at our race.
Very cool.
That's awesome. That's good stuff.
Yes.
That's what it's all about, right? You go there and you have like a beyond experience that you were planning on. And hey, I didn't know that, we were going to have a cookout and a practice tree race. And oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's just more stuff for people to hang on to.
Mhm.
If there's one race that anybody should go to, is the Uncle Buck Pig Roast. I mean, it's just because of the food and the camaraderie. And I mean, Dana will disagree because we're sacrificing a pig, and we all know she's
I
vegan,
don't eat that murder.
whatever.
Uh,
Just the camaraderie, the liquor truck that we have there. I mean, I still to this day get people that come to me who came like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or like, hey, when's that pig roast again? And is that liquor truck going to be there? Because those drinks that they were making was like out of this world, and I mean, there was lightning and thundering with rain coming down, and everybody was just huddling under tents,
Mhm.
going to get more drinks from the liquor truck on that night, because they just
nice.
they were liking it so much. And it's just the stock super stock guys are now come in with the series, so they're starting to experience what we had for so many years. And it's just one big happy family, and that's really
Awesome.
which is the camaraderie, the family aspect, what, when you go to another race and it's like, maybe you don't root on the guy that's in your class because he's a competitor, but maybe you park next to somebody who runs super gas, and then you go to a division race, you just happen to park next to the guy, the division race the next, the following weekend or a couple weekends later, and then you're like, hey, you know what, I met Rob at the Cecil County .90 race.
Right.
I need some help. Let me go see if, whatever. Let me go, it looks like he's maybe short-handed this weekend. Maybe I'll pull him into the water, or I'll, now he's starting to go rounds. Maybe he needs some help. Maybe he needs some help refueling his car. And it's all about that, the racers helping racers out, the camaraderie, and just the family aspect. And that's what we really, really push.
Right.
So I'm very much an observer when I'm there. I'm like the safety safari when I'm walking around the lanes. Like, I'm making sure you have pants on and shoes and gloves and whatever you need, right? But because I'm always just watching. And
No,
one of
Ricky
the
Bobby.
what?
No Ricky Bobby Pete. You can't run around in your helmet and underwear.
Exactly, right?
I'm on
One thing I
fire.
noticed last year that was amazing to me was we were running the finals of the dot 90 classes, and there were groups of junior kids on the sides watching. And I was just like, this is awesome. Like the kids came up here on purpose to watch these three finals. Like I was like in awe of it because I know when I was their age, like I would just run around the track having fun, probably getting into trouble, but they were like all about it. And I was just super impressed by it.
Very cool.
So yeah. So I mean, we're excited about 2025. I mean, our schedule is up on the website. It's www.midatlanticsuperseries.net. We're going 2 weekends to Cecil County. We're going 2 weekends to Mason-Dixon. Cecil County, everybody knows, how great of a track it is, how, Jimmy and Chad and their crew really, puts the red carpet out for our series. And, between the Uncle Buck Pig Roast, which is in July. And then, the good part about this year is that the Division One schedule doesn't start until Memorial Day weekend. So you're almost in the June before we start our first races in, NHRA Division One. We're already 4 races in with our series. So
Nice.
if you're looking for a place to come test, come hang out, try to get some runs in on your car, come play with us. Come play with us for 2 weekends. We have Mason-Dixon, which is the first week, the last weekend of April. I think April 26th and 27th. The weekend before the Maple Grove Division race, we're at Cecil County. And the first race at Mason-Dixon, we don't have stock, super stock, but we do have juniors, top sportsman, top dragster, all the .90 classes, pro and super pro. The race at Cecil County in May, which is the weekend before the Maple Grove race, which you can, get some test and tune in and, dial your car in for the Maple Grove Division One race. We'll have all the classes plus a gambler's race. And then we take pretty much June off. I think June's when, or maybe July is when we'll be going to Bristol for the junior finals. And then the end of July, we go to Cecil again that's for the Uncle Buck Pig Roast. And then we close everything out the end of September back at Mason-Dixon, which will have stock and super stock at that race then. So we have stock, super stock, juniors, top, .90, and then whatever else they may add on there. But, if you haven't been to Mason-Dixon in, a really long time, I know that used to have an NHRA Division One National Open there back in 2006, 7, 8, or something like that. Give the track a try. Elmer and Jake, really, and their whole family, and we want to send our condolences out to Elmer, who unfortunately lost his wife Kathy about 3 weeks ago.
Too bad.
Sudden passing by her, and I know Elmer's taking it pretty hard. But give Mason-Dixon a try. It's maybe a little bit on the outskirts of where normally it is, but honestly, it's an hour and a half from Cecil County. It's
I was just going to ask you, give us some references of where it is in relation to tracks that we know about.
so
Now, with the bridge being down, does that interfere with travel at all from going to Mason-Dixon? Obviously, I know with Cecil, it has no effect on it, really.
what the Scott Key Bridge?
Yes.
No, I mean no, not really. That would if anything, it affects people going to Virginia because technically, we found out going to Rockingham that I guess you're allowed to go through the tunnel with a motorhome and trailer. We always, for the longest time, always thought if you have propane in a motorhome that you couldn't go through the tunnel, but supposedly, according to what about 15 racers told us, that it's not an issue. So we would always take the Scott Key Bridge over that to go down to Virginia. Unfortunately, we had to take the tunnel to go to Rockingham when we went in October because the Scott Key Bridge isn't there anymore. So, but that mostly would be like Virginia-ish, I guess, if you want to do. But hey, so Mason-Dixon's located in Hagerstown, Maryland, it's literally, I think you go 10 miles up, you're in Pennsylvania. If you go, I think like 15 miles south, you are in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So it's in Hagerstown, Maryland. It's like I said, if you're looking map wise, you're looking at like York, Pennsylvania, Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and then just go straight down south where it was, and that's where
So essentially it's west of Baltimore.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
We drove right past Cecil to get there. Like Dave was like, "Up there goes Cecil." Like
It's
Right.
I mean, honestly, it may be a pretty long tow for some people, they feel, but it's one of the just like 3 highways and you're there. Like I
Mhm.
talked to Dave Muller, who lives in Pennington, New Jersey, up in North Jersey, and when he pulled into the driveway on Saturday morning, I was like, "Oh my God, you showed up!" Like I didn't expect like he was going to show up, and he literally pulled me aside. He goes, "Rob, this is probably one of the easiest tows I've had in 25 years of racing." He says it was so smooth. It was like PA Turnpike, the 81, 81 to 70, boom, I was at the racetrack. It was, there's not like all these, small little roads to go down. There's not all this busy highway.
Yeah. It's in a very suburban area, like right off of a street. Like it's not in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Very cool.
But yeah, so I thank you guys for having us, and
Our pleasure as always.
8 minutes, Pete Turtle Pumpkin. So
Again, I got 8 minutes, and then the slipper comes off, and
I gotta be up at 3:45 tomorrow for work. So
you got me beat.
Yeah.
I'm 4:30. I'm 4:30. You got me beat.
yeah,
8, 9 o'clock.
Rob, did you? I can't stand you. Rob, have you ever posted a link for the new website on the RNN page?
I'm not on the RNN page where it was, but I have on all my sites.
Okay.
The
Just
good part about
do me a favor and put it on there so that the people could check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the people that frequent RNN also frequent your stuff too, but just in case, the more places you put it, the better off you are.
yeah, and we're like I said,
Thank you for the updates, guys, because you guys are always coming up with new stuff, and it's good to hear from you. And as always, open door policy. Anything that you guys come up new or update or want to share, please don't hesitate, because we always have a spot for you on the show.
Just wait till next year if I find a cheaper way to get an ambulance.
Now we're talking.
Rob will quit. He'll quit.
We'll be like one of the minions sitting on the roof of a car making the ambulance noises. It'll be perfect.
Beetle, beetle,
That's
beetle.
it. Yeah. I wasn't going to do it, but you knew what I meant.
He'll definitely quit. There'll be a vacancy for El Presidente.
We'll have to get a cardboard cutout of him and stick it by the
Yeah.
trailer, right?
I was gonna say, come visit me and bring me gifts in my padded cell. In my
Yeah, I was going to say in the insane asylum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave a nice note for him.
yes, but yeah,
I'll
thank you
save
guys
your room.
for having us. And like I said, our banquet's coming up very, very shortly. And if you want to reach out and come to the banquet and see what it's all about, we'd love to have you. It's March 15th in Trevose, Pennsylvania. If not, hopefully we'll see you April 26th at Mason-Dixon for race number 1.
Awesome.
Very
Good
cool.
stuff.
Well, thank you again, Rob. Dana,
Enjoy the rest of your off season. That's
Yeah.
really an off season, but
the off season that never ends. Yeah.
yeah, right.
No off season for me.
No.
I get like a week off, and then I start banquet prep and
Mhm.
Yeah, no doubt.
He starts
Sure.
banquet prep before the last race of the season. So Mhm.
Listen, the effort doesn't go unnoticed.
a lot
And
of
just
our banquet.
the numbers increasing and everything is showing that, all your hard work is worth it. You made a statement at the beginning of the show about you guys aren't anything without the racers and the racers showing up, but something you got to give yourself a little bit of credit for. The racers are showing up for a reason, right? If Pete Sankis says, "Hey, we're going to have a race up at Lebanon Valley," I'm not going to draw the people in that you guys draw in because of what you've done
Oh.
to get it to this point. So yes, we are all nothing without the racers, but the fact that they're choosing to go to you guys is a reflection of what you guys are doing. So keep that in mind because you're putting out a hell of a product. So
Mm, thank you.
Absolutely.
You live closer, maybe you would come to all my races.
oh dude, if I lived closer, you'd annoy me. I'd be trying to get on the board for Mid-Atlantic somehow. Guy, put me in charge of tire shine on the tires or the trailer or something. I'd figure it out.
Or wash and wax the trailer every other
Something,
day.
yeah,
Maybe
something.
you could get me a bigger window. If so,
There you go.
you
That's
know,
what I would do. Yeah.
yeah,
I would,
see?
I would hold it up for you. I'd hold your fan on you and blow it
There you
on you
go.
or whatever. Yeah, whatever it takes.
It's so funny
Massage your
because
neck.
I pick on the window because I hate the window. It's just hysterical. But
Yep.
everyone who comes to the window is always like, "You don't have AC? I got to tell Rob to get you AC." And I'm like, "I have a fan. I'm good. I got
That's
a
really
window.
good.
It
Close
is
enough.
what it is. It's better than being in that tent when I first started helping him 5 years ago, and the sun beating on me. I remember I was so red from the burn I got that year at Maple Grove. I think it took 6 months to get rid of that burn.
And just think of all the protection you have up here, unlike
Oh.
some of us.
Yep.
It's- well, guys,
We
best of
just
luck
think
to you
about
this
it.
year.
We get when we turn this color.
Yeah, pretty
Oh.
much. So best of luck to you guys this year. Knock it out of the park like you always do.
Yep.
And like I said, anything else that you want to share or update, don't hesitate. Come on over.
Thanks,
you
guys. Thanks for having us, and go check out the new website. And if you have any issues that you want to register and you can't figure out how to register, just give me a call and I'll walk you through it. So
Very
Good
cool.
stuff.
thanks, guys. Have
All
a
right,
good
guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Bye.
Best
See
of
ya.
luck in 2025. All right.
So another nice show. We
Another
covered,
awesome show. Yes.
we
Absolutely.
covered Raul and possible Moroso, or what do they call it? West Palm or Palm Beach?
Palm Beach Internet, PBIR, Palm Beach
Thank you.
International
Yes.
Raceway.
It's always been Moroso to me because when I went there,
Oh, yeah,
that's what it was.
formerly Moroso
Right.
Raceway Park, maybe.
Yeah. I remember it being Moroso because I went there a couple of times for the 5-day bracket race. So
The biggest thing. That's why I asked you the other day. I said that's the former Moroso place,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, because what I think of, because that was in my heyday when I was a kid, was the 5-day bracket bash.
right.
Moroso 5-day bracket bash.
Yep.
I couldn't tell you what the actual real name of the track was.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a really cool event. That was probably at the time, or probably even still to this day, one of the biggest bracket races I ever went to. And it was cool. You'd have a little bit of weather come in one of the days and screw the racing up. They wind up, excuse me, they wind up racing 2 races in one day to make up for. I mean, it was just if you were a fan of getting in the car and making laps, that was the race to go to at the time because you had to listen for your color and figure out if I'm blue card on day 3 and orange on day 4, and it would get crazy, but it was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's Florida. You gotta anticipate every day about 3 o'clock. It's gonna
Yep.
downpour for about 20 minutes,
Right.
but then you wait 15 minutes and it's all freaking dry
And you're
again.
good to go, except for the humidity's 400%. But other than that, yeah, you're ready to
Yeah.
rock.
You're ready to rock.
I will say one of the coolest things I ever saw at that track was cars going down the track, and then all of a sudden they kill it. And it's like, did someone oil down the track? No. What's going on? The space shuttle's taking off. And if you're sitting on the starting line looking at the tree, the space shuttle was like right next to it. And it would be such a huge distraction that until it got out of your line of sight, they would shut the racing right down. And
No shit.
you can watch the big fireball coming off the shuttle, and then as soon as it was, above your line of sight, trying to concentrate on the tree, they fire racing back up again. It was so cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So
So yeah, so
sick
Palm
week.
Beach. Go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sick week, which
week.
I am a huge fan of. Not a fan to the point where I can tell you all the popular racers are, you know, what they do, what they did last year, where they're from, blah, blah, blah. But a huge fan of watching it and the concept. And I was just like glued to the TV the whole time it was going on. My students at school learned more about drag racing last week than they probably have in the 4 years that they've had me. But yeah, super cool. Then we have the pros that are going to be warming up this weekend at Bradenton.
We
got-
also have, and I have all the stuff.
Yep.
The Division One awards banquet awards banquet was this past weekend at Kalahari and the Poconos. So whenever we're ready, we'll dive into that. Yeah, you had pros warming up, sick week, Palm Beach breaking news,
Yep.
updates on the the purse for NHRA.
Yes.
I read it like 5 or 6 times. It's incredibly vague if the Lucas stuff is going to go up or not. I've asked a few people and they just kind of went, haha, you're funny. So, I mean, it's 25 million bucks.
Yeah.
Whether
Yep.
or not it affects
Right.
people such as yourself remains to be seen. Hopefully, more info will be coming out. You know, we talked about this numerous times over the past number
Right.
of years.
Right.
A simple yes or no.
Communication is king.
And the communication
Throw some out there, you know.
well, we're gonna, everybody's gonna get a 20%, everybody in the Lucas Oil is gonna get 20%, whatever. Okay. You say the pros are gonna get whatever the amount was.
Right.
Okay, and then you say the dollar amount. Okay, cool. What about Pete Sanka as a sportsman racer? Is he gonna get, thanks for coming,
Yeah. Right.
or whatever? It would, as trivial as it seems, I think for you guys it would just be nice to know.
I am going to go with, and I could be totally wrong here, but if they were boosting up the purses for everyone, I think they would consider that exciting news and they would come out with it. So I am going to go with, for the sportsman racer, probably not a lot going to change, because why wouldn't you say something about it if that was the case? Right.
Like I said, just a simple
That's like
yes or
winning a
no
race.
would
That's like
suffice.
winning a race and not telling anyone that you want to race. You're going to tell people because
Right.
you're happy about it. You would think that that would be the same case, but hey, look, maybe they'll come out with a press release next week saying, Pete Sanka is a jerk and everything's going up 10%. Who knows? Look, I'm totally fine with that. I'll be the jerk here. I'm fine.
The greatest news in the history of NHL.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, no doubt.
as
And
we circle the third
a
level
little
of
bit
hell.
of news, just because it involves a racetrack and it's good. Cletus McFarland bought half of Bradenton.
Really?
Yes, sir. And
Badass.
his Freedom Factor was always right next door. And he's always been very tight with the guy who owns Bradenton. I believe his name is Victor, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, they just had a press release last week that Cletus McFarland is now 50-50 partners with Victor on Bradenton.
That's awesome.
It's cool. It's again, much like when we were talking about Raul and, someone that has been very successful in business ventures and been fortunate enough to make a lot of money The fact that they want to invest it in the sport that we love, I mean, it's like, it's win-win. And it's great to hear, and I hope we hear about that 100 more times over the course of this year, because, you know, the more people that are excited about it and investing into it, it could only benefit us, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
And you'd have a reason to, then if Palm Beach comes back, you have a reason when you take the RV down to your other house to load the trailer up and bring that thing with you.
I mean, in all reality, Orlando's very close to me. So
True.
I already have a reason besides being lazy. You know what the issue is? I like having the car at school. I
Right.
like that the kids get excited to work on it, and I enjoy working on my car as much as I do racing it. So
Leave
if I
that here, take the dragster down.
dragster is gone,
Really? Bravo.
finally, I got a deposit in the mail last week, and I was told that around the end of February the balance will be paid, and off it goes. So
Congratulations.
dragster is gone.
Nice.
Hallelujah. Not exactly a wise financial investment, but I will say I didn't lose money, so that's good.
That's all that matters.
Took a long time to get there, but I didn't lose money. So
Right.
all in all, I can't
You
complain.
get to that point where it's like, okay, cool, I'll be happy to break even.
Right. And I actually, I'm probably between 500 and 1,000 on the good side. But I mean, I probably got 100 hours into it that I'll obviously never get paid for, but whatever.
Right.
Again,
Whatever, yeah.
it was an ooh and ah for the kids at school. A bunch of kids got to help work on it. Kids in other shops came in and took turns sitting in it and taking pictures and all that stuff. So to me, if I
Awesome.
can accomplish all that and break even, it's a success in my book. So
That's a win right
yeah,
there.
yeah, it's all good. No complaints.
Very cool.
So
All
that's it.
right. So, uh, again, this past weekend, NHRA Division One had their awards banquet at the Kalahari Resort in the Poconos. They moved in 2024 from Hershey to the Poconos. Um, let's see. Let me just get to it. It's in an article, so you just kind of have to kind of bear with me.
Mhm.
Um, the East Regional Champions, Jackie Frick and Top Alcohol Dragster, and Chip Everett, who took Top Alcohol Funny Car class. Which reminds me of one thing. The gentleman that drives the Bartone Brothers Top Alcohol Funny Car,
Yep.
Sean Bellamure,
Hmm.
was at the Rolex, eyeballing the GT3 cars.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep,
Pretty cool.
yep. So, because the Bartone Brothers own a Mercedes GT3 car.
Right.
So,
Cool.
just thought I'd throw that out there. You know, my little Rolex.
Tidbit of useless drag racing information. Excellent. Yeah.
There you go. Was able to at least tie it together.
There you go.
Most of the winners obviously were known, but there were a lot of surprise winners. The 2024 Image of Youth Award went to second generation racer Paul Stava. Obviously, everybody knows the Stava family.
And we started out the show talking about the junior dragsters and their relevance to the sport, and them. I mean, I could go on for an hour, right? The Volpes, the Iaconas, I mean, we could just go on and on. The Stacks, all these people that I hope to God I retire by the time they get into a big car, because holy shit, they're going to be killers. And it's just, you know, Stauber's no exception. He's good now. The father is good. The mother is good. All the little Staubers are good. And when they get into the big cars, they're going to be nasty, just like they are now. So here we go.
Well, don't forget too, he also did some time in his stock eliminator car
Doctor.
too.
Yep.
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 So I don't know if that car is still for sale or was sold, but I know it was for sale at one time. So let's see. Shane Oak's wife, Sarah, was named crew chief of the year.
Nice.
Let's see. Third generation racer Paul Northrup, who won the Summit Pro ET Championship and represented Division One in Vegas, won the Summit Series ET Driver of the Year. And please, again, disregard my horrible voice. Jim Halsey, Kathy Krause Halsey, the managers and owners of Cecil County Dragway in Maryland, were awarded with the Northeast Division Never Rest Award for their tireless contributions to the sport and his constant strive to improve the track for racers and fans. Two tracks have done a hell of a lot of, well, actually, really three have done a lot of improvements, a
Yep.
lot of heavy duty improvements. And I would definitely say Halsey leads the way in the changes that he's done over the last year.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
I
to
gotta
him.
I gotta tell you, Maple Grove has done a boatload of work too.
That's why I kept thinking
Yep.
about it as I was going
Yep.
through it.
And then, Lebanon Valley bringing in Mass Traction, one of our sponsors, and doing a bunch of paving up there, and it's I can't speak on Cecil because I don't race there enough to see the improvements, but clearly the award is self-explanatory. But big changes. I have to go with Cecil County and Maple Grove, because it's like when you drive into a track and you go, "Oh my God, this looks completely different." But
Yep.
Lebanon Valley is just like so consistent with their upgrades. It's like you roll through the gate the first time, and it's like, okay, what did they do this year, right? And it's just either it's
No, it's like
upgrading the equipment and getting the rotator, or having Mass Traction come in and do the service, or paving a couple of more roads out in the backfield. It's just like a very consistent. It's great. It's good to see all the tracks improving their stuff, because they're not losing money if they're making improvements, one would think, right?
I know I'm dying to see Sue's office this year.
Yes, that's right. That's another thing I completely forgot
Yep.
about, right? Yeah, that should be cool.
Jim Halsey was also enshrined in Northeast Division Hall of Fame um, with his body of winning. His body of winning. That's not worded really.
Yeah. Got a winning
With
body.
all with the wins that he has is what I will go with. In NHRA, IHRA, and PDRA Pro Mod competition. I mean, the guy's a killer in that
Sure.
Pro Mod car. His
Yep.
really is. Jeff Eastburn and Hoops Fire Prevention were the Northeast Division sponsor of the year.
Excellent.
Maple Grove Dragway won the Summit Racing Junior Dragster League Team Championship and also walked away with Northeast Division Track of the Year. And Jim Bowen, who everybody knows was basically in charge of the alcohol cars in Division One,
Yep.
was the sub MC for the ceremony. Also was inducted into the Northeast Division Hall of Fame and was presented to him by his former boss, Dave Moan.
Oh, very cool. That must have been,
And Jim got a standing ovation.
that's awesome. Good for him.
Hell of a nice guy. Really, really nice guy.
Awesome.
I know Steve Rhodes, our buddy Steve, who we love to pick on.
Yeah, I was very happy to see that.
Yep,
That was
got
cool.
Person of the Year.
Yep.
So,
Boy, that'll humble you quickly, won't it?
oh, absolutely.
That's very cool. Good for him.
So,
We know he works his butt off. Again, because of my not racing divisionals that much. I don't get the fortune of seeing him too much, but you know that when he's there, he's working his butt off, and clearly it showed with this award. So congratulations to him.
Absolutely. And if you haven't been on the division website, it has changed. It's changed, definitely changed for the better,
Oh, nice.
I think.
Good.
So I saw that a few weeks ago. I always forgot to mention it.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's that. I would
And
like to take this
Keith
quick moment.
Mayers got driver of the year. Am I
Yes.
correct in saying that?
Yep.
Mention him too. Friend of the show and all around great guy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I want to say thank you to the Atlantic Canadian Super Stock Association for sending me a 2025 calendar.
Oh,
Has
very cool.
pictures and it
Excellent.
has all the dates and everything in it and all their sponsors. So thank you to Chris Chapman for sending that to me. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm sure I missed a couple of things if I just went by the article.
Yeah.
And if I did miss you, I do apologize. But want to say thank you to Rob and to Dana for coming on.
Yep.
It
Great
looks
guest
like
as usual.
Mid-Atlantic Super Series is going to kick some major butt this year, so it'd be awesome to watch how things go.
They're definitely not afraid to put the work in, that's for sure.
Oh hell no!
And it
So I
shows.
said, there's real in reality for those two, there's no off season.
Right.
So,
Yep. Good stuff.
but with that being said, I want to say thank you to Blackburn Engineering, Mass Traction, Straight Line Performance and Automotive, and of course, the man behind Straight Line Performance and Automotive and my co-host, Pete Sanka, for coming on, hanging out. He's going to be on vacation next week, but I got something cool that I'm working on that's not drag racing related, but I think everybody will still enjoy it. I
Excellent.
think. So,
I'll probably be in flight while you're doing it, but I'll be sure to check it out on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
When I land.
absolutely. Yep. Check us, search Racers News Network on YouTube. It's starting to grow.
It's funny because quick before I fall asleep and start drooling. I am a YouTube addict now. It's like I hardly even watch TV anymore. And I I bring up YouTube and it has like the samples of things that you can watch. And the other night I brought it up and I'm looking at your mug sitting on there. I'm like, look at this guy.
Who's this idiot?
The YouTube channel came up. I said, oh, look, I'll sit here and watch Chris. And then 2 minutes later, I was on. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's enough of that. Let's go watch something good.
Thing one and thing two.
Yeah, right.
So,
So good stuff, buddy. You have a good night.
we'll talk to everybody soon. Have a great night.
Yeah, I'll talk to
And
you.
again, thank you to Rob and Dana for coming on.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, take care, everybody. Have a great night. If
Take
you
care,
are
buddy.
traveling to Florida to race, drive safe, be careful. We're out of here.
See ya.
Phew.